Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with a daily technical update. It is Thursday and it's the last day of July, 31st of July. Let's see how the month will end. We still have the end of the week tomorrow, so maybe not that much change. However, there are some earnings out. We are in earnings season, so we are going to look at that. But first, I have to mention this is educational video only. There's no recommendation or advice whatsoever intended. It is only to demonstrate how I try to read the market using technical analysis and my experience with 25 years plus in the market. But yes, earnings season at Microsoft released earnings in the aftermarket yesterday, and it was better than expected, despite the fact that the Microsoft share has been going up since the last earnings, just very straight or very consistent day by day higher. But yesterday in the aftermarket, it closed at 551.5 around that level. So that's where we are indicated to open today, as illustrated by this dashed line here. So that is an all-time high. So I don't think we have ever been in that area before, and that of course also lifted the Nasdaq market. The Meta also released earnings, and that also propelled the share price in the aftermarket higher to around 755. So a massive jump. It wasn't expected. As you can see, there's been a bit of weakness here lately, but now it is here pre-market indicating 755 around that level. So really strong move there, and of course that also resulted in the aftermarket and also pre-market here on Nasdaq 100, illustrated by the CFD, much higher. And now it seems to be canceling its divergence. And if we're just looking very quickly at the cash market yesterday, it was actually, well, it was a little bit higher, but it didn't really move anywhere. So it did look a little bit in exhausted mode or toppies, but that for sure was cancelled yesterday. And the same with the US 500. It was also a little bit stretched, but has of course also been lifted in the aftermarket and also now in the pre-market overnight here, as illustrated by the US 500 CFD. And of course also the US 30, the Dow Jones index. And we can see here aftermarket, it was in the normal market session, it was a little bit to the weaker side for all indices, but as we can see here, it also bounced a little bit. Dow Jones not so much. Microsoft is included there, but not the not Meta. So yes, it seems like we will continue the bullish tone on the markets in general, on the US markets. In Asia session, not so much positivity. Positive vibes there. Seng 1.5% lower, back below the 24,874. Still no divergence on the RSI, but it is in a correction mode. Currently taking back about half of that uptrend there. Quite interesting. Could actually drop down to 24,472 with the 61.8 retracement and the lower rising trend line before we could see a bounce. Some weakness there. However, if it turns around now and closes this gap up to the lows there from the other days level there at 25,177, well then uptrend is likely to resume. Nikkei has bounced this morning here from the 50% retracement of this uptrend and seems to be resuming uptrend. I will bet on it. It's not a recommendation, advice. Unless it takes out the lows from today, then I think we'll see a higher level above the previous peak there. In Europe, well, market has opened a little bit higher here, about 0.25% on EuroStoxx50. It was positive yesterday. the key will be to what can RSI get back above 60 threshold. I think it will, and if it does, well, then it's likely to take out that resistance there at 5,467. The CFD, as you can see, also pushing a little bit higher there. DAX also about 0.5% higher this morning, already in a positive sentiment. And what you can see here, that it has broken its falling trend line on the RSI. It could be a good indication that it also will take out its falling trend line here on the actual share price. If we put that right there. And then it's probably also taking out a 24,515 resistance. And if it does, well, expect higher levels on DAX too. On the FX market and euro dollar, well, it got hit hard yesterday, massive sell-off in euro dollar, but now it seems to find some support here in the clouds just above 113.85, where we have some support. I think it could bounce further, but negative sentiment on the RSI indicating we could see lower levels. But let's see if it can crawl back above here up to the 55 moving average. If it moves back above the cloud area, then I think we will see the further bounce. But if it takes out the lows from this morning and from yesterday, then expect further downside, possibly down to 112.50. But I will also say the 100 moving average there, that adds a little bit to the support. On sterling dollar, also hammered yesterday, and could dip lower to 131.75, possibly down to 131 even. We are below the cloud, negative sentiment on the RSI. We are below 100 moving average. We have established a bearish trend, lower lows, lower highs, and lower lows. A little bit of correction here today maybe, but downtrend seems to be the name of the game. Euro sterling also was lower, bouncing a little bit today. Didn't get all the way down to the 86. Could still do it, but still positive sentiment on the RSI. So let's see here. If it bounces back, I will actually remove this one. If it bounces back and pushes back above 86.50, then I think uptrend could resume. But the key support here around 86. Dollar yen yesterday up to the 200 moving average. Confirmed the bullish trends, also with the RSI above the 60 threshold again. A little bit stretched here, but I think we could see a push up to above 150.45, possibly up to 151.25, where we have some stronger resistance, and the 161.8 retracement. Euro yen dipped to the support here at 169.70. I actually expected to dip all the way down to the 38.2 retracement, 169. Can still do it, but that requires it takes out the lows from today. So it seems like we are bouncing here quite strongly. And if we're moving back above 171.50, then I think we will see uptrend resuming. I will actually put in a horizontal line just around there, 171.55. The Aussie yen sideways trading between 95.60 and 97.40, 45. That is the range to break out of for direction. Sterling yen bouncing, almost dipped down to the support and the 55 moving average here. Actually did down to 107.97, bouncing back. And if it can close back above the rising trend line there, then we could see uptrend resuming. Moving on to Aussie dollar, that has been really weird lately, but yesterday it got hammered below the support there, and also below this support down to the 100 moving average. Could continue lower, but I'm not quite sure it will. If it moves back above 65, then I think we could see a further bounce to 66 level. If it takes out the lows from yesterday, then expect a sell-off down to the 200 moving average, currently around 63.90, and possibly also down to 63.75 support. That's a fairly strong support area. You can see it also from in this region here, just around 63.60, 63.70. Dollar Canada, strong move yesterday. Also the day before, they actually pushed above the falling trend line and dipped or spiked just above the resistance there. And now it's being met with a new resistance, 138.45, around that level, 138.50. Testing at a moment also where we have the 138.2 projection. I think it could spike up to the 139, which is 161.8 projection. Positive sentiment on the RSI is indicating that. However, we have the 100 moving average coming down there, kind of restricting a little bit at the upside potential. But let's see, it could do that. But very strong resistance here at current levels. Sterling Canada testing once again for a second day. Well, the 183 and a bit has dipped a little bit below, so there's some strong support in this region here. However, we can see the moving averages are turning around. We are in a negative sentiment, so we could see a push lower. If it takes out 182.60, well, then there's really not much stopping it down until around 181, 180. Moving on to the Swiss franc. See, testing again these levels here. Really some strong supports in this region around 92, 90, and 93. Really some strong interest there to keep it up there. Testing again this morning, but seems to be bouncing. Let's see if it takes out the lows from today. Well, then maybe that sell-off will occur. But it seems like it's really not materializing. But keep an eye on it. The dollar Swiss. Up to the 161.8 projection at 81.60 after pushing higher above the resistance there at 80.65. Positive sentiment on the RSI could push higher. Strong resistance up in the region around 82.50, where we have the 100 moving average coming down. Could be seen, but there's a little bit of a struggle going on here below the cloud. The dollar index, almost the same picture, also higher yesterday, up to the 161.8 projection, almost there at 99.78, setting back a little bit. We have the 100 moving average. You can see how strong that 100 moving average seems to be. So setting back a little bit, but we are in a positive sentiment, so there is potential higher. And then we have some strong resistance in the region around 100 spot 32 and 100 spots 74 in this region here. Around 100.5, so could spike up to that before setback. But I think we will see a little bit of a setback here today and maybe tomorrow, and then maybe have another go higher. Moving on to gold that was sold off yesterday. Been trading below the 55 moving average. Now it's also below the cloud, but now it's tucked in here between the 100 and the 55 moving average. You can see RSI still above 40 threshold, being rejected there, bouncing off it. So that will be key here in the coming days. What will happen? Will RSI close below 40 threshold or not? And will this 32.45 support hold? If both are broken with a close, both of them, well, then expect a much lower level on gold. We could be looking at 31.60, maybe even down to around the 3,100, 3,050 area. But let's see, we are not there yet, but really on a knife set at the moment. Silver also got beaten yesterday, went straight through the support here at 37.50 and dipped down to the 138.2 projection of this this uptrend there at 36.73. Could dip lower. I wouldn't be surprised to see it down to around 36.25. We can see this at the lows here also, but it's also 161.8 projection of this uptrend there. We have then the 55 moving average coming up there, giving it some support. Still positive sentiment on the RSI, and I think maybe we could see, excuse me, RSI bouncing off 40 threshold. If it does, well, then we could see a fairly strong bounce too. Platinum, also massive sell-off yesterday. Not much, holding it until around the 12-13 area. What we could, I'm struggling a little bit, and that's how it is sometimes. but it seems like we have a little bit of support here in around the 1300 area, and we are bouncing a little bit. We can also see that the RSI is bouncing off the 40 threshold, and if it stays above, well, then we could see further upside potential or bouncing potential. We're still above the cloud, still above 55 moving average. Copper, on the other hand, was massively beaten yesterday after it apparently was excluded from Trump's tariffs. So yesterday, massive sell-off. Never seen this before. I think went straight through all supports there at 440, 445, no, 545, sorry, and a half. And also straight through the 55, the 100, and also the 500 level and the 495, and it touched the previous support there at 450, but this morning it went further, and it could actually continue further. There's really not much stopping it until around 400. Let's see if it'll go there, but RSI and bearish negative sentiment indicating possibly that it could do that, and we get back to these lows around here just above 400. Really massive sell-off, but very volatile. Be careful not to catch a falling knife, but maybe the worst has materialized, and let's see if we can. There could be some in this region here, but as you can see, it is region around 434, 4.25, or 425. But the strongest one is down here at 400. Not saying we will get there, but could see it. If we're looking at the weekly chart, we can also see how massive it was. Could dip down to at the lower rising trend line there and the 200 weekly moving average. Gold is crawling higher. Sorry, crude oil is crawling higher. Sorry about this. Crude oil is crawling higher. Closed above the cloud yesterday. RSI above 60 threshold here on the WTI. We are above the resistance. We could see it pushing higher towards the 61.8 retracement at 72.90. Maybe not this week, but next week it could be that destination it will reach. Unless it slides back below the 69.50 support. If it does, well, then it will be caught in this cloud here. But still, we are back above 60 threshold. So let's see if we can get it higher, unfortunately. The Brent Crude oil also pushing higher. RSI above 60 threshold, back above. It was never in negative sentiment. And it could push up to the 61.8 retracement at 75.65. European nat gas setting back a little bit after being rejected at the 786 retracement at 35.37 and the 55 moving average. So it could actually turn sour again and slide lower. We are still negative sentiment, no divergence. To establish a bullish trend, a minimum requirement is that it close back above 36.32. The US nat gas sliding lower, testing the lows here, and I think it will slide lower towards 285 support. Yields, well, the 432 still holds. The dipped a little bit below it yesterday, but has bounced, but we're still in this range here. So 432, if it takes out the lows from yesterday, then we could see dipping to 4.25 with this 786 retracement of this uptrend there. So we are still range bound here. On the European yields, still below the 272, hasn't closed above it. It has spiked above a couple of times, so maybe a little bit of weakness here the next few days. The UK 10 actually dropped much lower, and now also even lower this morning, just above 455 support. They should be happy about that. That it hasn't really exploded the yields there in UK. So 455. Keep an eye on that support level. I think it will bounce a little bit away. If it takes it out, well, then we're looking at 450 and below. Finally, on cryptos and Bitcoin, still sliding sideways, trading sideways, really not much moving. Seems to be more Ethereum that's where the action is going. We can see it trying to push higher if it takes out the peak there at 39.42, then I think we'll see it testing 4100 area. And if that materializes, the RSI will move back above its falling trend line, indicating likely higher levels. All right, that's all for today. Have a nice day and talk to you again tomorrow.